right now. There's only two now.
Okay, so there are 4 people on hunger strike in the Niagara Detention Center right now, and there's a tremendous amount of community support in Niagara, in St. Catharines, in Southern Ontario. People have been filling out petitions, and people have been making phone calls, people have been sending letters, and it's extremely important that people continue to do so.
Justice! We want justice! Status! Status! We want status! Justice! Justice! We want justice! Status! Status! We want status!
Justice for immigrants!
Freedom for refugees!
Justice for immigrants!
Freedom for refugees!
What do we want?
Justice! Now! Now!
So basically, originally there was 5 hunger strikers. They did a campaign from the 22nd to the 29th. Ibrahim Ali Farah, Sergio Puerto, Sandro Felipe, Jesus Galban, and Victor Moses. Victor has actually since been taken by immigration. We don't know his whereabouts. They ended that strike on the 29th because Jesus fell from top bunk in segregation, 8 feet to the floor, injured his back. The NDC refused to give them any medical attention whatsoever, so no Tylenol, nothing, unless they all dropped the strike. So they all dropped the strike on the 29th. We came in and started doing support work on December 3rd. On December 11th, with Victor gone, Sergio, Sandro, Ibrahim, and Jesus decided they were going to do a rotational strike. They've been on that rotational strike since December 11th. Immediately after they went on this rotational strike, the NDC put them in segregation again. So Sergio, Jesus, and Sandro are now in segregation. They believe they're in there because there's more people with refugee claims inside who want to join the strike. So they think the NDC is afraid that more people are going to organize with them, and they're not happy about that. They've still been denied medical attention. The Canadian Correctional Guidelines for Hunger Strikes mandates that on the beginning of a hunger strike, a doctor is supposed to see every hunger striker to chart their medical history and their medical concerns throughout the hunger strike. Again after 7 days, and then after 7 days, a nurse is supposed to see them on every single day. None of that has been followed whatsoever by the NDC. The NDC has tried to put pressure and attention on Immigration Canada, saying this isn't their issue, they're hands off. But obviously they're not following guidelines, and they're punishing these guys for the campaign that they're going on, which are very basic demands. Medical attention is a basic demand. The right to due process, basic demand. And that's kind of where we stand today. The guys were promised they were going to move back to dorms on Monday, and by the superintendent who met with all of them. Then they were told that because of this demonstration, they were going to be held there and maybe let out after this demonstration. They said, fuck it, we're going ahead with the demonstration anyways. We need attention on the NDC. We need the NDC to know that people are going to hold them accountable for the things which are happening inside. So, that's where we are today. Shame on the NDC! Shame! Shame!
Now! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now!
Sergio had only recently come to St. Catharines, and he was relying on the shelter system, but he was teaching Spanish classes at the community center across the street. He's promised to teach anybody who's a part of this campaign Spanish once he gets out. But he's going to get me teaching Spanish. He says he can do it in 5 weeks, which I don't believe. But that's kind of...
Freedom for refugees! Justice for immigrants! Freedom for refugees! Justice for immigrants! Freedom for refugees! Justice for immigrants! Freedom for refugees!
Sandro was picked up on June 26, 2011. He came across the Niagara River on a raft after having his refugee claim denied in the United States. He was processed by immigration and then went back to a place where he was staying, had enough time, 4 hours, to call friends and family, let them know that he was in Canada and he was safe. Then he was called by the police. The police said, well, we got to come back, there's some paperwork you need to fill out. He was picked up then, he's been in detention ever since. He actually has his cell phone in there with him in property that has all his contacts. He's been there for 5 months, he can't access it. So nobody knows where Sandro is. None of his friends, none of his family have any idea. It's like, there's no way you can even think that something is so close to you but yet so far away for that long period of time. Sandro, we tried to get a sweater into Sandro because he's had hearings in Toronto and he was picked up in a t-shirt, so he has no winter clothing. Twice the NDC has refused to accept property for Sandro, which is basically an undershirt and a sweater, and both times it's basically without cause, without reason, because he's filled out all the appropriate paperwork to have property passed over.
Justice! We want justice! 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 We want justice! A passion for freedom
It's greater than your prison walls!
Passion for freedom
It's greater than your prison walls!
Passion for
Hey everybody, one thing that I left out when I was giving that general update, so one thing that we've started to do outside is we started to do solidarity strikes that mirror the rotating strike inside. So yesterday was my 3rd strike day, Dennis is on a strike day today, who else is on a strike day today? Yeah, Ian's on a strike day today. So basically we're just building teams of 4 which do rotational strikes. So every 4th day you do 24 hours hunger strike, right? And then it gets passed off to the next person. Basically it's just a way of showing solidarity with the guys inside. They're really happy that people are doing that. And then also it gives you an outlet to talk about this issue with friends and family and things like that in a way that's controlled and where the message is really, you know, good for the guys inside. So
immigrants! Freedom!